Good evening, everyone. I'll now call the Winton Woods Board of Education regular meeting to order. It is 6:30 p.m. on Monday, April 25th, 2016. Thank you all for being here, and I'd ask a quick favor for you to turn off all of your electronic devices, at least to silent or vibrate. And please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Seymour, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie? Here. Dr. Johnson?
Here.
Mrs. Ken?
Here.
Mrs. Miranda?
Present. Our first item on the agenda this evening is our district honors, recognitions, gifts, and introductions. Mr. Superintendent, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President and Board. I had the pleasure of visiting Primary South and looking at the incredible artwork from Miss Sharon Smith, or is it North? They're both the same to me. She's mine. She's yours? Okay. It's the Smiths part that I get wrong. Okay. So here's a little quiz. I'm going to do a little quiz with you. Tell me if you've heard of these artists before. Leonardo da Vinci, Rembrandt, Michelangelo, Pablo Picasso, Vincent van Gogh. Well, I'm going to introduce you to some new ones. All right? So the honorable mention is Miriam Seck. Is Miriam here? Oh, Miriam.
Oh, wait, you're not done yet, darling? Back up here. We're going to turn around for a picture real quick, okay? Right here, Mrs. Coach. Turn this way.
All right, the next award is Micaiah Thomas. Makai?
Everybody can see.
You know, it's amazing. Artistic kids dress artistic-like. So I want to be artistic. So I think tomorrow I'm going to wear the bow tie and the shorts and see how that works out. I think I will look good in it. All right. The principal selection is Tyrell Worrell. Oh, look at that. Show it to everybody.
He dresses like that all the time.
Very great job.
And finally, the superintendent's selection is Danishka Bond. Okay. Well, I have to talk a little bit about her piece. So let me have this.
Yeah, let's hear you talk.
This one inspired me because the day I went in North, this is how I felt. Right? And the loving smile, I think that all of your children did an amazing job. One of the hardest parts of this job as the superintendent is to pick one art piece. Very, very difficult. And it seems like they have like art police walking around following me to see what I'm going to do. But those are our three sections. It's the honorable mention, principal and superintendent, Miriam, Makai, Tyrell, and Danishka. So let's give them another round of applause. You ready for another section? Okay.
My name is Terry Lee. I'm a president of the Kiwanis Green Hills Forest Park Kiwanis Club, and like all other members and volunteers, we wish to help all students reach their full potential. And so I am here tonight to issue the Kiwanis Character Ski Award to Nyla Freeman. You want me to go on? Where did you go? This award is being presented to Nyla of Winton Woods Primary South School in special recognition of your outstanding character trait of integrity. Within the character of an individual lies the welfare of the nation. It is character that enables the individual to survive, to endure, and to transcend the negative. Your values reflect your commitment to be a student of good character to your peers, your teachers, your parents, and your community. And along with this award, there is a little monetary gift that goes along with it.
Yeah, before we bring the parents up for the photograph, I'd like to read a little bit about Nyla. All right. Nyla is known to have strong morals and moral uprightness. Nyla's strong personality and work ethic led her to this award. Through her interactions with her peers, her leadership qualities she shows in the classroom, as well as her oral presentation with class discussions, makes this award very suitable for her. With Nyla's honesty and creative mindset that she's shown throughout the year, she's proven time and time again why her integrity fits her personality. Her classmates also see her strengths and competes with her to be the best. Any other student in her position might be jealous or complain or even be mad and upset. Nyla accepts these challenges and fights back, but she fights back and also humbles herself to help those who struggles with material or subject or something they may not understand. For this attribute, her classmates as well as her teacher respects her. These qualities are qualifications of integrity. I'm happy I had the opportunity to be her teacher and just to meet a student of her knowledgeable compatibility. She is definitely one of many reasons why I love doing my job, and that's from her teacher, Jaquil Hargrove. And this is Nyla. And Nyla, you want to say something? Okay. All right. Okay. She said thanks.
Oh, is that? Okay. We'll get thoughts. One first, and then we'll bring you in. Right back in here. Wherever you can Is my too tall now?
There you go. Okay. All right. Everybody smile. 1, 2, 3. Very good.
The second award is the Kiwanis Gold Star Student of the Month. It's being presented to Gerald Taylor for his outstanding academic achievement enthusiasm, and commitment to service in the community and the school district. And like the previous, it also comes with a monetary gift. I hope you like school stuff.
All right, I'm going to read a little bit about you, Gerald, and then I know you've got a great speech you'd like to give us. So. All right. Gerald Taylor is a 10th grader who strives for excellence. He currently has a grade point average of a 3.698. Gerald has been a student at Winton Woods all of his academic career. Bravo for that. He is a very dedicated student and strives for excellence in everything he encounters. Gerald is in honors classes and actively engages with others in his classes. He is always willing to lend a helping hand to help a classmate better understand a concept. Gerald experienced life-threatening surgery during the middle of his freshman year. While laying flat on his back for weeks, he still managed to complete his assignments and maintain an A average. Wow. Gerald was also a tenor saxophone player in a marching band. Complications with his physical conditions before surgery forced him to stop playing the saxophone. Wanting to still remain a band member, Gerald then became a band manager. Gerald was recognized at the end of the 9th grade year with High Honors Award. Just recently, Gerald was a recipient of the CSAC Community School Achievement Committee First Year Award for earning a grade point average of 3.0 in the second semester of his freshman year and earning a 3.5 in the first semester of the current year. I am honored to have Gerald on my counseling roster. He is such a great supportive family. He is such a great role model for all students. To watch him overcome a physical obstacle and to see him maintain high academic standards is to be acknowledged with great applause. His school counselor, Kim Goins. Gerald.
Mom and Dad, you want to come up for a picture? Very good, thank you.
All right. Our next recipient is the Skyline Student Athlete of the Month. Miss Laura Oniawa, please come up. Laura was named Winton Woods City Schools Skyline Student Athlete of the Month for April. Laura is also the school's cross-country and on-track teams and competes on the academic quiz team and has an overall GPA of 3.8. Laura gives her all both on the field and in the classroom and is admired by her teachers and coaches for all she's accomplished, said Athletic Director David Lumpkin. She has shown her competitive spirit as a member of our academic quiz team and is part of both the cross-country and track teams. To be nominated for the Skyline Student Athlete of the Month, students must maintain an academic standard of 3.0 or above in the previous quarter, show respect for coaches, teammates, officials, teachers, and other students and family, show enthusiasm and a positive attitude, display commitment to practice games and personal skill development, demonstrate honesty and playing by the rules, have high moral character. The Skyline Student Athlete of the Month is sponsored by the Forest Park Skyline, a business partner of Winton Woods City Schools. Student athletes also receive a $20 Skyline gift card. And here is our award winner, Laura Oniawa. You want to say anything? Yes.
Thank you for selecting me as Skyline Student of the Month.
Now we go on to the big people. All right. Skyline Teacher of the Month Award, Miss Jennifer Cheney. That must be her principal out there somewhere. Jennifer Cheney's first grade classroom at Winton Woods Primary South in Springfield Township is an active learning space that fosters individual accountability and collaboration. There isn't a student in Miss Cheney's classroom who doesn't know how well they are performing academically and socially, said Winton Woods Primary South Principal Danielle Wallace. By design, all students are challenged to make and meet personal achievement goals across all content areas. Not only can they tell you their future goals, students take pride in explaining how they plan to achieve them. Cheney has been chosen by the district as April Skyline Teacher of the Month. Not only is Mrs. Cheney an excellent teacher, she also serves as literacy team leader for her grade level and is an active member of the building leadership team and is a 2016-17 pilot teacher for the New Tech Initiative. Wow. There's more. There's more. Yeah.
Let's not stop there then.
She has a whole book on this. To be nominated for the Skyline Teacher of the Month, teachers must demonstrate excellence in the classroom by using instructional practices that support higher academic achievement, motivation by encouraging and motivating students to surpass their expectations both academically and socially, leadership by having a positive attitude with students, parents, colleagues, and the community, creativity and imagination by demonstrating creativity and teaching in a way that inspires students to learn. And finally, dedication by showing excellent attendance, punctuality, and overall dependability. Communication by communicating effectively to their classroom, parents, colleagues, and beyond. We are very, very proud, and thank you, Skyline, for your award to Mrs. Cheney from all of us at Winton Woods City Schools. And we are very, very happy to have you on staff. And I know Ms. Wallace believes the world is our next undertaking. Thank you. Oh, come on. Yes.
Thank you very much for this award. I really appreciate it. I absolutely love my job. I wake up every day and I want to go to work. I love it that much, and I love every child that walks into my classroom door. I try to treat them like they're my own. So thank you so much.
All right, I need the crowd to do something. I need you to point at her, point to her, and say, "We love you too."
We love you too. All right, thank you.
All right. You ready? I recognize you. Come on. I am so proud to read a little story about Royalty Hightower. She's a 5th grader, and she premiered in a movie at the Venice Film Festival. In the last year, if the last year was a fairy tale for Royalty Hightower, she would definitely be the princess of the story. The Winton Woods Intermediate School 5th grader has starred in a movie, attended the Venice, yes, Italy Film Festival, and the Sundance Film Festival, has been featured in Vogue and Rolling Stone magazines and received glowing reviews from just about everyone who's seen the film, The Fits, which was, by the way, her first time acting. I thought The Fits was a regular movie, said Hightower. I didn't know that it would blow up like this. You know, I remember the first movie, well, you wouldn't want to see that. But even with all the attention she's been receiving, Hightower is like most 5th graders. She enjoys math more than English and tries hard to keep up with her homework, even though that sometimes has meant completing a work packet in a hotel room instead of at home. As she's traveled around the world to promote the movie, her teachers and classmates back home have been happy and excited for her. How many of you knew about her? This is powerful. Hightower's journey into acting began when writer, director, and producer Anna Rose Holmer chose the Q Kids, the local drill team Hightower belongs to in Cincinnati's West End as the focus of her movie. The Fits, after auditioning several girls from the Q Kids, Homer chose Hightower to star as Tony, a young girl who leaves the world of boxing when she is shared with her brother to join the high-energy drill team that practice in the same recreation center. Hightower loves to dance and has been a part of the Q Kids since she was 6, following the footsteps of her old sister, Your Majesty. These days, she's also teaching herself to tumble, which she says is coming easy because of her flexibility and dance background. Dancing and tumbling through, though, come in a distant second to Hightower's new love, acting. Talent agencies are now calling her mom on a regular basis, and the superintendent has agreed to be her agent. That's me. We tape the auditions at home instead of going to California, she said. As much fun as it is taping Tony in The Fits, Hightower said her dream role would be in a horror movie where she plays a soul survivor. I really like acting and can see it as a career, she says. The Fit starring Royalty Hightower is coming to Cincinnati this summer. Until then, the trailer can be seen at thefitsfilm.com. No, you're an actress. No, there's no way. No, there's. You don't have any. Come on, say a few words, please. Bring mom with you. Who inspires you?
Myself.
Okay. Very, very well. All right, that was powerful. All right. Okay, for the audience out there, what's the name of the movie? The Fits. The Fits. All right, okay. And who's her manager? Okay. All right. Their next recipient, this is a award. It's really not an award, but it's more of an endorsement from the governor's office, Governor John R. Kasich, and from the interim superintendent, Dr. Lonnie R. Rivera. Each year, the Winton Woods City School District is selected to be part of the NAEP study. And this study is a very, very important study. They want to see how well our children are progressing academically. Not every principal or assistant principal that participates in the NAEP study gets recognized. Only the ones that are doing it well above the process gets the recognition, and we'd like to recognize our own Mr. Nelson Holman as being the person who made this work for us. So it reads, Dear Superintendent Smith, thank you for the participation of Winton Woods Elementary School's Grade 4 students in the National Assessment of Education Progress, better known as NAEP. The students did a great job representing 4th graders in the nation and were diligent in their efforts. I also would like to recognize the hard work of Nelson Holman, assistant principal who served as school coordinator for the assessment. While NAEP is administered by outside staff, coordinating with the NAEP field staff, assisting with the student sampling process, sending notification letters to parents of selected students, and determining administration logistics was key for ensuring the smooth and efficient administration of NAEP. For further information on NAEP, please visit the NAEP website at wces.ed.gov/nations report card. And Mr. Holman, I know it took a lot of work and a lot of sacrifice and a lot of energy to get all the kids organized and ready for it, so we applaud you. Thank you for your efficiency. Mr. Jeff Merrill. Congratulations to Mr. Jeff Merrill for being selected Southwest Ohio Athletic Director Association Middle School Athletic Director of the Year. Jeff previously was selected Middle School Athletic Director of the Year in 2010. He has worn many hats while serving the athletic department for Winton Woods City Schools. Prior to serving as Middle School Athletic Director for 16 years, Jeff was Winton Woods High School head volleyball coach for 12 years, head girls softball coach for 16 years, middle school boys basketball coach for 18 years, middle school football coach 2 years, and Winton Woods High School track coach for 1 year. Jeff also has extensive experience coaching prior to his employment with Winton Woods City Schools, varsity volleyball, men's basketball for 7 years, volleyball at Eastwood for middle school 7 years, and middle school track at Eastwood for 7 years. These are all attributes that we really appreciate, Mr. Merrill, and thank you very, very much for everything that you do. Mrs. Wilson, where's Mrs. Wilson? Ms. Wilson gave me some information about Mr. Merrill that's not here that I think that you guys really need to understand. Everybody here has seen a mascot, right? Well, I heard Mr. Merrill was the mascot for Bowling Green State University. And what's that mascot's name?
Freddie Falcon.
Freddie Falcon. Freddie Falcon. So that's one of your biggest accomplishments. So I'd like for you guys to meet Freddie Falcon. Ho. So say a little bit about why you do what you do.
Well, why I do what I do. It's a very fortunate situation when you can not work a day in your life. I love what I do. I come every day and I don't feel I'm going to work. I feel like I'm going to have a great time and help our young people. And it makes it really easy when you have a great support all the way from these guys here all the way down to our chauffeurs at the bus garage. It's a collaborative effort that we can make our athletic department work. And it's just an enjoyable experience each and every day because there's not one day that's the same. And you can come to work thinking it's going to be an easy day, and then the superintendent calls you to the office and says, organize a trip to China for our soccer team. And you have 2.5 months to do it, which we are trying to pull off, and we will pull off. And our high school soccer team is going to China this July. We'll be the only team from the United States going. We're the only representative from the United States, and so we're in the process of pulling that together. We're looking for donations to help sponsor this trip, but it's going to be a tremendous experience for our kids for 9 days competing against the world's best athletes in soccer. So it's something we look really forward to doing. So I thank him for that opportunity as well.
Yeah, I usually don't do this, but I have to do this. We love you, Freddie. Miss Wilson gave me all that great information about his background, so thank you very much. We find what we need. Okay, Miss Barger, are you ready? Okay. Miss Barger is leading a great program called Lead to Feed, and I'm going to let her take the floor so she can give all of the children all the accolades and then explain how this program works. Are you ready?
I am ready, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Hi. Do you mind if I don't use the microphone? Oh, you don't use the microphone. Okay. I'm adaptable. Hi. I teach at the middle school. I'm very fortunate to be able to teach a lovely group of students. I teach English and I teach a class called Humanities. And I teach with Lisa Giblin and Ashley Brand and our student teacher, Allison Arnold. And we were fortunate enough to be named a Lead to Feed School certified Lead to Feed School. And it's the first one in this year. And there are 11 in the nation. A little nervous, sorry. So anyway, Lead to Feed is a wonderful program that really works on teaching the kids to be leaders and about service. And my students are going to present about it because I teach so that they're inspired to do great things. So rather than listen to me, come on, angels, come on up. You got the screen on?
Thank you, Randy.
Hi, we are students from Winton. Oh gosh. Okay. Hi, we are students from Winton Woods Middle School, and we are excited to inform you about a special leadership program known as Lead to Feed. Let me introduce you to my team. My name is Kirsten. This is Star, Fatima, Evan, Camille, and Kiara, whoever she is. I hope you enjoy our presentation. Thank you.
Matthew 25 Ministries was one of the first parts of one of our first projects. Matthew 25 Ministries is a non-profitable charity that accepts donations and takes these donations and sends them to different places that have just gone through natural disasters. While we were there volunteering, we took puppy pads and we would take these and we would make sure that they were able to be reused. When we took these puppy pads, they would send them to the places where the natural disasters had occurred. These puppy pads they would use for like blankets or mats, and they would make sure that they didn't have to sleep on the ground where all the dirt and grime was. While we were there, we also went on a tour. This tour was just explaining to us what they've done so far and how they've impacted people who have gone through natural disasters. We also got this really cool idea about the the blankets made out of plastic bags. And so these blankets, we would just take regular plastic bags from like a Kroger or somewhere, and we would cut off the ends, and then we would cut them in little strips, and we'll crochet them into a yarn type ball, and we'll crochet them into a big mat, and I guess we'll send them out, and they can use those. Matthew 25 Ministries has impacted me in a way that I'll probably never forget. It's shown me how I have so much that I could share to other people, and that they'll never be able to have the same experiences that I do. It's shown me that I have so much that I take for granted, and I should really think about what I have more.
Lead to Feed is a student-based leadership program. Our school is a certified 1 out of 11 Lead to Feed school in the nation. We have received many awards, and Lead to Feed started in our school in 2012. Feed the need in our community. That is the quote for Lead to Feed. Lead to Feed helped us out to identify community needs and to solve them. An assignment we did was our humanities class wrote elevator speeches and recorded them. The purpose of the elevator speech was to persuade people to donate to the Free Store Food Bank. In conclusion, Lead to Feed has helped the humanities class by becoming stronger leaders, helping us by lending a hand to the community and improving the community. What I learned about this experience, because at the beginning of the school year, I wouldn't think of myself being here right now because I was just a shy person and I didn't think I would help people, and I take a lot of things for granted. When I realized that tons of people in our school in the community are on free reduced lunch, it's sad because I have a lot and I don't care about it. But now I realize that there's many other people, and like this opened my eyes to an opportunity that I could help people. Thank you.
So at the start of Lead to Feed, we had to choose an organization to partner with. So first we got assigned groups. In our groups we made presentations trying to persuade people to choose our organizations. We had several groups choosing Free Start Food Bank, American Red Cross Association, and Matthew 25 Ministries. After we presented the class voted on their favorite presentation. Freestore was chosen out of 9 worthy cause organizations proposed. We chose Freestore because of their local tri-state area impact. Freestore has had an impact on many families in our school and community. Freestore also has several tri-state programs such as community gardens, cooking classes, and school pantries, which partly inspired us to create our own Winton Woods Middle School Pride Pantry. After researching a lot about Lead to Feed and what they had to offer, or Freestore Food Bank, sorry, I'm more aware of things I could do to help out the community. I plan to continue with Lead to Feed and helping out with the Pride Pantry for many more years to come.
We got the idea to open up a Pride Pantry because we saw that another school did it and it inspired us. We saw problems at our school and community. Because of this, we decided to open up a Pride Pantry. This pantry has non-perishable items, personal care products, canned goods, clothes, supplies, and hygiene products. This pantry is open to anyone in our school and community. This is life-changing to people because it helps those who are struggling. We hope that it continues for generations and continues to help people in our district and communities. The pantry and the Lead to Feed project has impacted me because I'm a very fortunate young lady. My mom, right there in the pink shirt with curly hair, she does a lot for me and puts up with me every day. And I get to do sports. I get food on my table, on my plate or whatever. I get food on my plate, and I have a roof over my head. And I'm very fortunate for that because a lot of kids in our school, like Buddy might have said, are on free reduced lunch program. And so they don't get to eat as much as I do or get to live in a house like I do. Some people just aren't as fortunate as me, and I'm very thankful for that because I am not, not like that, because other kids don't get what I get. And so it helped me realize that a lot of kids aren't as fortunate and that I need to give back to the community. So it makes me care. It makes me want to donate back and lend a hand.
Hunger Awareness Week is a special week in which we promote awareness of the issue of hunger in our community and abroad. 2 ways we promote Hunger Awareness Week is with announcements, and we also hang up posters. Announcements. For the entire week, announcements are made in the mornings and afternoons that speak of Hunger Awareness Week. They also give interesting facts that tell of hunger and how students can also help, which also engages them. We also hang up posters around the school to tell them how they can help and about the Pride Pantry and just get students energized and wanting to help our school more. To also promote awareness, faculty members and students are asked to take part in a one school day of fasting in which everybody participates in not eating food to really understand how some students feel, maybe throughout the weekends or something if they can't afford to feed themselves. The Lead to Feed program has really assisted me to develop my natural leadership skills, and it's really opened my eyes to see that some students don't have enough, and it makes me feel almost upset though that I take it for granted and I don't care and I eat, and I see that some students can't even afford to eat during the weekends. So special thanks to the Board of Education, the Winton Woods community, the administration, teachers, and also fellow students. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now I'm not nervous because they finished. I was nervous for them. So they represent the lead of Lead to Feed. They were the ones that were kind of the committee that held everything together. They worked with a total of 40 students to get everything together. And when we first started the Pride Pantry, we had envisioned like a shelf or two that Mr. Sanker gave us in the office. And every time we turned around, the kids said, what about this? Or here, Mom bought this, or we got this with coupons, or we got this. How about if we add this? Well, some kids go hungry over the weekend. Can we add food in there? And I will tell you, with the bag project, they are all over my classroom, under the desks, everywhere, because they are so engaged. They are giving up their lunches. They're taking them home. They're working on them. These kids represent our future, and if that's true, we have a bright future ahead of us. No, we don't like anybody.
Okay, Ms. Dillon, and Jane, very good. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
All right, our final award is the April Community Spirit Award. And this award goes to, it's a full endeavor, it's a full opportunity. It's the Artists Reaching Classrooms program through the Taft Museum. And I'm going to read a little bit about what it means to Winton Woods. The Artists Reaching Classrooms program through the Taft Museum has provided multiple learning experiences and opportunities for Winton Woods High School students since this partnership began back in the 1990s. When a Taft Museum staff member visited the classroom of art teacher Carol Becky Young to evaluate a student teacher, she was so impressed with Winton Woods art students that she'd offered an invitation to join the art program. Since then, famous artists like Tom Shaw, Catherine Hurley, Brenda Tarbell, and Kevin Mute have come to the high school to speak to our art students. They've also had visits from industrial designers, social justice artists, printmakers, and painters. Additionally, our students have visited the Taft Museum on field trips to be introduced to the history of the arts in Cincinnati and the collection of Anna Sinton and Charles Taft. Artists Reaching Classrooms was also the showcase for the Congressional Art Award many times, and our high school students have placed first and twice in that category competition, as well as second and third place. Each year, the art program culminates with a student art show at the downtown public library, which helps the students understand the concepts of an artist showing. But the most amazing opportunity created for this partnership is that our seniors have won over $10,000 in scholarships over the years through the Artists Reaching Classroom program. Scholarship money that is awarded to the most exemplary pieces of art. Winton Woods City School joins Miss Carol Becky Young and her students in thanking Lisa Morset, manager of the school, and docent programs for the Taft Museum for the amazing opportunities that the Artists Reaching Classrooms program has brought to our high school. This month, we're pleased to present her with the district's Community Spirit Award.
Thank you very much. The Taft has been delighted to partner with Winton Woods over the years. Great teachers, great students, and it was wonderful to see what the students here tonight were doing, all the way from elementary school up, and your community involvement. The ARC program couldn't exist if it didn't have great teachers who felt like this was an opportunity for their students. And along with that, every great teacher needs the support of administrative staff in allowing them to really participate in these kind of off-campus activities. So once again, the ARC reception is actually this Wednesday night, and I'm sad to say that a lot of Winton Woods students have double commitments, but they are well represented at the public library downtown, and the reception is at 6 p.m. So please come down and visit. If you can't come to the reception, please come down and look at your great student work. Thank you.
Very well. Madam President and Board, this ends the district honors recognitions, gifts, and introductions.
Thank you, Superintendent Smith. And congratulations again to all of our wonderful students and staff. At this time, we'll take a recess. Okay, we'll now resume our meeting. And seeing as that we have no comments from the public, we will move on into the next item on our agenda, which is the approval of the minutes as attached. Board, unless you see any necessary changes or alterations to these, a motion would be in order.
I don't see any. Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Been motioned and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call the vote?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Yeah.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is our treasurer's report. Mr. Seymour, you have the floor.
We're looking now for the month of March. For the month of March, we had revenues for year-to-date of $36 million in the general fund, with the month-to-date of $2 million, which was all from the state because most of our real estate taxes have been collected, but we have recently learned that there's an issue with the tax collections, and we're concerned now that we may or may not get our homestead rollback by June 30th. So we'll be monitoring that because, as you know, that will skew your revenues for this year compared to next year. Also, for our year-to-date expenditures, we had $34.1 million, and we're beginning to see that we're going to start running a little under budget. Most of the departments got all their purchases done, and we'll begin to better monitor what our cash balance will be and project our funds for going into next year's appropriations. Our financial activity for all of funds, we have a balance of $18.9 million, of which $17.6 million was for the general fund. And as you know, we're about 80% through our year, 75% through the year for last month.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour.
And I got to figure out how to keep this iPad on.
All right. Well, any questions or comments for Mr. Seymour?
I actually have a question.
Sure.
You said there's some issues with being able to get some money. What
They
are those
did.
issues?
They're having some issues on the tax collection. They've got new programs for Hamilton County, a new program for real estate tax collections, and our settlement has been held up slightly, and then the settlement has to be completed before you can file for homestead and rollback for the state
But
of
we'll
Ohio.
get it.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we'll get
okay.
it. It's just the timing now.
Okay.
And for those of you who, in 2010, when I got here, I realized that had happened here in 2010, where the homestead and rollback was delayed for a year.
Mhm.
So it could take up
And
to
it
a year.
hurts large school districts.
Yes, been there.
Sure. Randy,
Yes.
it will take a year, you think, or you don't know how long?
No,
it'll
no.
take? Okay.
Well, typically you get them in May, but with the processes being delayed, it might be July, which the timing of the cash on our accrual financials, it'll be fine, but on our cash basis, it'll look like we didn't receive our homestead rollback for the correct year. We'll just, if that happens, we'll just always have to keep that in our mind in our projections.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour.
Sure. Did
With-
that answer your question?
Yes, it
Okay.
does. Thank you.
With no objections being heard, we'll let the financial report for the month of March be submitted to audit. And then Randy, back to you for the treasurer's recommendations.
For our investment report, as you can see, we had additional funds invested, and for the month, we earned $9,000. I would like to state that almost year to date, we have almost, with going to our new investment program, we've almost doubled what we earned last year. And you may have noticed that Star Ohio Plus is closed out now, and those funds have been brought down to our Fifth Third Bank. When you have Star Plus was paying about 0.02. Well, as you know, we have a large banking service fees. So as long as I keep funds in the checking account, it's called earnings credit, and I can receive earnings credit against those bank charges. Those are paying better than the interest rate from Star Ohio. So that's why you'll see there's a $5 million balance in Fifth Third, because we need between approximately $5 to $6 million to cover our bank charges. And as an interest, that's better interest right now than we can get at Star Plus. Hopefully the state treasurer isn't watching this, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Board, a motion would be in order.
I propose that we approve the investments as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion or questions for Mr. Seymour? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call the vote?
Sure. Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. We'll move into 7.02.
As you recall, at some of you at your first meeting, you adopted the tax budget, and in that you used the 5-year forecast to show to the Hamilton County Budget Commission that the taxes that you had approved and levied by your voters were needed to support and sustain your programs and expenditure plan. They took that budget now and they have sent back to us what those rates will be on our current levies to sustain our current levies. I don't know if you have any questions or anything like that, but we're just actually setting what those tax rates will be for those levies. You might notice that the 10-year emergency levy, which was voted for 7.9, is now approaching 10 mils. What that means is that our real estate values have gone this way, as it takes a higher millage to collect 4.2 million. As you know, an emergency levy is a dollar amount, so they levy the taxes to collect that dollar amount. Your other levies are millage amounts and can decrease as the property values go down.
Board, a motion would be in order.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there any further discussion or questions for Mr. Seymour? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call the vote?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. And we will now move into 8.01, reports from the superintendent. Superintendent Smith, you have the floor.
Madam President and Board, I'd like to turn your attention to a few upcoming events, and I'd like to start with some exciting ones that are happening at Primary South. On April 29th, which is right here, the Primary South Singers will perform at a pre-show for Ricky Tiki Tava at the Playhouse in the Park. So they're going to be singing, they're going to be doing the intro at 7:00 p.m., and I'm hoping some people can make it. May 2nd through the 6th is Teacher Appreciation Week, and then May 6th is Volunteer Appreciation Day at the Primary South, and that begins at 9:30. The next really interesting event is happening at Intermediate School, excuse me. The sprinters participate in the Flying Pig Marathon, so if you're interested in that, that would be a fantastic opportunity. I'd love to see some board members really get out there and do what you can and then be able to make it back to the next board meeting in May. The next one is happening at the middle school. The Winton Woods Middle School Band and Orchestra Concert is at 6 o'clock on May 10th, and the Middle School Honors Night is May 17th at 7:00 p.m. And then finally, well not finally, the high school. There is a fantastic orchestra senior recognition concert April 26th, 7:00 p.m. The choir senior recognition concert, 7 o'clock. You did just hear in my earlier acknowledgement and recognition the Arc High School opening art program. AP testing is May 2nd to the 13th. And then there is a very interesting State of the Schools address by yours truly at 6:30. And we're moving it to the high school media center so that we can be up close and personal. All right. And then finally, the Winton Woods Alternative School. There is a very, very eloquent event that's going to take place on May 13th at Paul Brown Stadium, Club Lounge East. That would be our senior prom. And then the biggest culminating activity of them all will be May 26th, graduation Cintas Center, Xavier University, 7:30 p.m. And the students are excited about your attendance. So those are some of the highlights that are happening in the schools.
Thank you, Superintendent Smith. Unfortunately, I'll be out of town on Friday, otherwise I would definitely make it to that Primary South event. So I'll rely on my other members here to be there for that one.
You mean the marathon, the flying pig?
No, not the marathon, sir. All right, back to you, Superintendent Smith, for 9.01, Superintendent's recommendations.
Yes, the recommendations to approve the personnel schedules, Schedule A, resignations and retirements, Schedule C, support staff, Schedule D, extra duty and supplemental employment, and Schedule E, and also Schedule B, certificated employment.
Board, a motion would be in order.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the personnel schedules as presented.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call the vote?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously, and we'll move on to 9.02.
The recommendation, Madam President and Board, is to approve the summer school programs and new courses as presented for action.
Board, a motion would be in order.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the summer school schedule programs and new courses as presented by the superintendent.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call the vote?
Sure. Mrs. Ruggles?
Abstain.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes. We'll move on to 9.03, Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, Madam President, before I move forward, I would just like to say that I don't know if this happened in your time as being a high school student or any other members of the board, but students are begging and excited about the course, the pre-calculus that's fused in with physics, and they are very, very excited. There's a young lady by the name of Alex Denny who's begged for that course since birth, and so now she gets the opportunity, so we're excited about that one. Everybody here asked for the pre-calculus and physics course, right, when you were in high school? Okay, all right, that's what I thought. All right. The next recommendation, Madam President and Board, is each year the government comes back about our price increases, and the price increase is about 10 cents per each lunch item that they're proposing. And so the recommendation is to approve the school lunch prices for the year 16-17.
Board, a motion would be in order.
I recommend moving forward with approving the school lunch price increase for 2016-17.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded, and just as a point of clarification, Superintendent, I understand that this increase is a reflection of the law change.
Absolutely it is.
In which we must abide by.
We have no options.
Okay. Mr. Seymour, would you please call the vote?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. We'll now move into 9.04. Dr. Johnson?
Yes, let's see, let me do this. Madam President, I'd like to read for your hearing the resolution for the National Teacher Appreciation Week for May the 2nd through the 6th, 2016. Whereas the week of May the 2nd through the 6th, 2016 is National Teacher Appreciation Week, and whereas the public schools have been the gateway to success for every generation of Americans, and whereas a strong, effective system of public school education for all children and youth is essential to our democratic system of government, and whereas public schools are at work shaping the future for the whole new generation of young Americans who will take their places in education, business, industry, and government, and whereas no other profession has so great an opportunity to make a lasting and life-changing impact on the lives of so many, and whereas teachers empower, inform, teach, enlighten, share, enrich, create, motivate, mentor, and touch the minds of those students they are entrusted with. And whereas it is appropriate for Winton Woods City School District to pay tribute to the teaching profession as a whole and to recognize teachers for their dedication, for their commitment to challenge and educate the youth of our schools and community. Therefore, be it resolved that Winton Woods City School Board of Education formally designates the week of May the 2nd through the 6th, 2016 as National Teacher Appreciation Week. Adopted this day, hopefully 25th of April, 2016.
Do I also hear a motion with that?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the National Teacher Appreciation Week for May the 2nd through the 6th here at Winton Woods City Schools.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. We'll now move on to 9.05. Mrs. Ruggles.
Yes, Board, I'd like to read the resolution for National School Nurse Day for your consideration for approval. Whereas it is proper to acknowledge school nurses for their professional contribution to encourage and support a healthy environment and education for our nation's youth and for the students and staff of the Winton Woods City School District. And whereas school nurses provide a vital role to the institution of public education through their unique expertise for managing primary and preventive health care. And whereas school nurses are diligent, motivated, caring professionals who influence and promote a healthy school environment that is safe and conducive to learning, be it therefore resolved this 25th day of April 2016 that the Winton Woods City School District Board of Education hereby recognizes the continued effort, commitment, and resolve of school nurses to make a difference and proclaims May 11th, 2016 as National School Nurse Day in the Winton Woods City School District. Adopted this 25th day of April. Board, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the resolution for Nurse Day in the Winton Woods City School District.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call the vote?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. We'll now move on to 9.06. Mr. Birdie, if you'll do us the honor.
Yes, I'd like to read the School Nutrition Employee Week official proclamation. Whereas nutritious meals at school are an essential part of the school day, and whereas the staff of the district school meals and nutrition department are committed to providing healthful, nutritious meals to the district's children, and whereas the men and women who prepare and serve school meals help nurture our children through their daily interaction and support, and whereas the week of May 2nd through 6th, 2016 is School Nutrition Employee Week. Now therefore be it resolved that Winton Woods City School District expresses its deep appreciation to these valuable employees and commends their good work on behalf of our children. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the School Nutrition Employee Week official proclamation.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour.
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. We will now move into 9.07, our proposal on facility usage rates.
Yes, Madam President and Board, I would just like to say that this is not just a arbitrary decision, but kudos to Mr. Denny for going across the entire community, across the state, and figuring out our usage rate and our participation rate in usage of buildings and other entities that's in alignment with other school districts. So this wasn't just a decision, Winton Woods, we're going to make it about you. He has a full table and a full tab about how other districts have shared facility usage and how those rates are comparable. So for your approval, the proposal is to approve the facility usage rates effective school year 2016-17. And I don't believe we raised our rates since when, Mr. Denny? 2011. Okay, so as our facilities get older, they have to be managed, they have to be maintained, and more wear and tear, of course, cuts into costs. So thank you for your research in this project, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposed facility usage rates effective school year 2016-17 as presented.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
I just have one question. Is the rate increase across the board or certain, I'm pleased to see that review, so I think it's a great idea to be able to use our resources or our facilities in a very productive way that brings money back. But I just was curious.
In some cases, Ms. Kuhn, it's been increased based on the ones that have been asked for the most, because that's where the wear and tear comes from. So.
I'd also like to add that I actually thought, when I looked at the prices, I thought it was pretty affordable.
Yes.
And would like to encourage our community to consider utilizing the facilities, because it is a great place and a great way to bring our community out to the school district and actually see the facilities, as well as provide some opportunity to host their personal events.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour, would you please call that vote?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie?
Aye.
Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Moran?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. We'll now move into 10.01, which is the legislative report. And members of the board, you have laying at your desk, also Superintendent Smith and Treasurer Seymour, a report that I've provided for you with 3 topics that I've chosen out of the hundreds that there are to choose from. So the first one is something that was sent to us via email, and hopefully all of you are receiving these emails from the Ohio Equity and Adequacy Commission. It's regarding charter schools and property taxes. So what I did for you is basically copied and pasted this article for you, and I would just like to summarize it a bit to bring light to the general topic here. So it states Ohio taxpayers need to be protected from legislative enactments that favor charter schools. The schemes that are concocted in the charter industry to rip off taxpayers seem endless. Open fraud and corruption is regularly exposed via the media, but some schemes are less obvious, which is this one that they're pointing out regarding property taxes. So case in point example there for you is a nonprofit company leases property to Horizon Science Academy in Dayton. This group is a subsidiary of a Gulen Associated New Plan Learning, which leases property to other charters. They owe property taxes on the property leased to this Dayton charter school, according to the Ohio Tax Commissioner. The company appealed the commissioner's decision all the way to the Ohio Supreme Court, which heard the case on April 19th. But in the future, it won't matter what the court decides. The legislature inserted a provision in the state budget bill back in 2011 that exempts property owners like this one from paying property tax. So regardless of the court's decision in the long run, it looks like they're going to accrue more tax money for their movement via the amendment to this budget bill, and they've learned how to use the U.S. political and judicial systems to their advantage. So interesting conundrum there that we have with this amendment introduced to our budget bill. Number 2 is the passage of SB or Senate Bill 264. So through the House Finance Committee this past week on Tuesday, they passed SB 4, which would provide a 3-day sales tax holiday in August of this year, when back-to-school clothing and school supplies will be tax exempt. So I think we're all pretty much familiar with the sales tax holiday that happened last year, so this one is basically the same as that, but just with emphasis on saving on our school clothing and school supplies. So that's great. Congrats and kudos to all of the legislators who made that happen. And then your last item on your report tonight is from the House Education Committee. If you remember, probably 2 or 3 regular meetings ago, I brought you a report on House Bill 137, which would require that our health curriculums in each school district in Ohio include instruction on the positive effects of organ and tissue donation. The testimony for this bill was heard on Wednesday. Further action is pending, so this is more or less just an update for you from one of the last topics I discussed. And I've also provided you links for both of those bills to read further. And that's all I have for you tonight as far as legislative items are concerned. And next, seeing that Mr. Cleary is here, come on up for your Great Oaks report. You now have the floor.
Good evening, Madam President, Board of Education, and Superintendent Smith. I'm going to kind of go off script a little bit and kind of finish some comments that I had made at the last board meeting. At our last board meeting, I had mentioned that the test scores had come through for the Great Oaks and commented that our scores looked really, really, really well. And I asked our superintendent, Mr. Schneider, why do you think that really is? And last month, I had reported to you kind of my own narrative of what he had communicated to me. And it made sense. What he had communicated to me basically said that students that are engaged in things that they really enjoy and love engage at a higher level. So if it's computer technology, they want to know everything there is to know about it. Well, since the last meeting, I went back to our superintendent at the Great Oaks, our CEO, and asked the same thing again, but this time I asked, give me the hard data, give me the research, show me evidence, give me data as to why this is the case. So he overwhelmed me. I made up 3 packets, they're up there on the desk, from the Fordham Institute on a research document called Career Technical Education, Does It Improve Student Outcomes? Instead of overloading you and giving you a bunch of different research, this was the document that seemed to summarize it kind of the best. And I'm going to boil it down to something really, really, really simple in my mind. It's project-based learning. It's the thing that our superintendent has been talking about. Career tech is project-based learning. While, at least in the career tech side, it's a certificate standard and it's not graded quite the same as how the state would grade our school district. The concept is still the same. And so I want to applaud the Board of Education and Superintendent Smith as to where you're going with this PBL. Infusing that is going to be a real game changer for our community and for our students. Across the entire state of Ohio, career tech students are doing better academically, and it's because of that PBL component. Now, in the past, the Great Oaks was scored and graded the same way our district was. It's brand new this past year that we have a different accountability. Our accountability now is based on certifications. It's based on your core content area. If you're an electrician, it's getting a master's license. If it's a plumber, it's X. If it's HVAC, it's having Freon certifications, as well as math and English and all the other core subjects. So you can't quite compare their test scores to our test scores because it's really 2 different concepts. But the research suggests that we are on the right track. And once again, I applaud you for that. So I know I went a little bit off script of what I normally do. So now I'll get back to my regular report. I find something kind of interesting that looking for evidence about mastering content is one thing, but those soft skills that aren't tested, like the communication skills of our middle school students that came up here and talked about, hey, it was really cool to give back. It was really cool to be engaged with Matthew 25. It was really, it energized me to help feed some students here in my own school that I didn't have a concept that there was a need. That humanities class is PBL. It's project-based learning. Those soft skills translate to the Great Oaks as well. So there's some snapshots that I kind of put in here. Josh Hilling with the Glendale Police Department, he's a graduate of our program. And he was able to diffuse a situation on I-75. You all saw it in the news. Those are soft skills. Just since then, since this has occurred, I went over and spent a day with the police academy to see what do they do both on the adult ed side and our high school student ed side, because they're kind of the same in that area. And the things that they're training for are soft skills. I just kind of find that interesting. Once again, it's project-based learning. I've noted through some photographs in my package this month, Project Lead the Way, which we have here, or have had here at Winton Woods for many years, is an engineering track to get students exposed to engineering at many different levels. It could be through robotics. The big push right now is 3D printing. And so there's a picture in here of a little young lady. She's about 4 years old. She was born without an arm. Students from Great Oaks engineered an arm that she can use on their 3D printer in their class. They fitted her with the arm. You can go to the WCPO website and actually see the clip of this. It was amazing what those students were able to do. Once again, project-based learning. Over Easter, the little girl, and this is not in the news, it's not in that clip, but at Easter time, that young lady, she broke the arm. Her name is Rosie. And so she went back to the students to say, I broke the arm, can you make me another one? And can you make it do this? So they made it her favorite color. The arm has her name and it says Rosie in it. And the students printed her another one. For about $30 was the cost to print this arm. The students did work with the Children's Hospital as part of this project as well, so they would have a better understanding of prosthetics and that you really just don't go and make your own body parts at home. Some other things, some other students, they raised money for Memorial Park out in Milford. Harrison built some wheelchairs for some of their students in their preschool that had cerebral palsy. FFA students, Future Farmers of America, were part of the grading of livestock event at the beginning of the month. Once again, this is all project-based learning. Kind of another interesting project that some students had done at Harrison High School. They collected 13,000 pairs of shoes for children in need. I got to talk with some of these students, and I said, how hard was it to implement that program? They said they thought it was going to be pretty easy. It was just letting people know they needed shoes, but they didn't realize once they started the project, we have to store them, we have to clean them, we have to sort them, because it's a whole bunch of shoes that come in different sizes. They're not necessarily together. They still had to transport them, so there was logistics, and it was a really large project. I can't even imagine 13,000 pairs of shoes. Once again, project-based learning. I could kind of go on and on. There's more and more examples of these here. Of students that are engaged through project-based learning through the Oaks programs. Dr. Holden had mentioned this Forbes list of skills employers most want. Well, this is on the Great Oaks website. These are the skills that businesses have told Great Oaks, these are the skills we need your students to have when you graduate to be career ready. Those things are learning to work in a team, making decisions and solving problems, communicating both written and oral, planning, organizing, prioritizing work, obtaining and processing information, analyzing data, demonstrating technical skills, influencing others. Our middle school students, at some level, were able to do those things. So once again, I applaud the Board of Education and our superintendent for moving more and more into this area. Included in your packet this month, you just might find it kind of interesting, is the enrollment data for all of the different programs that are going on at the Oaks. Currently, we have roughly 340 students from Winton Woods at the Great Oaks. Half are juniors, half are seniors, which means about roughly 30% of our students that graduate this year will be graduating from the Oaks if you combine them with high school. So we have a pretty good engagement with the Oaks. Last month I mentioned the summer camp program. at the Great Oaks. There are still seats that are available for anyone in the community that has a student that might be interested in culinary, aviation maintenance, construction, equine, being a truck mechanic, exercise science, art and design, health careers, automotive, auto body, welding, and there's an animal camp as well. One additional item, Waycross's summer camp is June 9th to August the 4th. And that aligns with the Great Oaks program as well. If your student's interested in that, please visit the Waycross website. I find it interesting. It's a lot of work for me to do, but I have to go through and sort every single student on all of the campuses that are Winton Woods students to see if they're students of the month. This one young man, David Cheatham, he's at the Live Oaks in restaurant operation. He's had multiple awards this year. He's been in my packet multiple times for different things. He's student of the month this month. Blake Warren, he was in last month's, he's again in this month. He was student of the month this month. Some things that he's competed in are the BPA regional, he was a BPA regional competition winner. It's a business practicum of like interviewing skills, communication skills. He scored really well. Shoshana Birch, she's at Scarlet Oaks in health technology. She competed in the Skills USA and on the interviewing side did extremely well. Janae Ellis, she's at Scarlet Oaks, health technology. Janae received the highest award, gold medal, in first aid and CPR competition with Skills USA. Grace Kent, also at Scarlet Oaks, early childhood education. She scored. She received a silver medal in the concept unit development competition through her association of early childhood employees. And very little to report on the legislative side. Ohio Senate Bill 3 is in the Education Committee right now. This bill mainly has to do with the change that Governor Kasich put in place that you can't serve on a career tech board for life. You can serve 2 3-year terms and that's it. Well, for larger boards such as the Great Oaks that have 30+ members, what wound up happening is you lose all of your institutional history in one fell swoop. So within 6 years, everybody had to be brand new. So we've asked them to reconsider that and to somehow phase that in for the really large boards of career tech board of educations, and they are considering that. If there's no questions, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Cleary.
I actually have a question. So is the enrollment data specific to Winton Woods?
No, this is not. This is just total programs throughout all of the Great Oaks campuses. But I'd be happy to put that in next month. I'm trying to include a data component every month in my packet. I just haven't done one specifically on.
That would be good. And then also, this is great information, but can we get some pictures of Winton Woods students to see what we're doing?
Yes.
In these great programs?
A lot of this happen. A lot of the photographs happen at the individual sites because they have PR on their sites. Or the Great Oaks is sending out their PR person, but I'm sure that can be arranged here as well.
That'd be good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cleary. All right, board will now move into 12.0, which is members of the board's comments. Mrs. Ruggless, we'll start with you.
Okay, over the last month, I did have an opportunity to take my mom, who came in from New York, to the play, and it was a wonderful production. And I have nothing but kudos to go to our students. They do a wonderful job. And I'm beginning the community conversations with Springfield Township to really try and touch and connect with the Springfield Township community to learn more about what are the wants and needs of our community. And I'm actually waiting to schedule a meeting with with some of the leadership. So once I get that scheduled, I will report back.
All right, thank you, Mr. Birdie.
I also got to see the Cinderella play, and that was fantastic. I mean, I really was impressed with the production. I mean, I've seen a couple of plays, downtown. I've seen, one in New York, and I tell you what, that was as good as anything that I've ever seen. It was a fantastic production, well done by everybody. It seriously was. Seeing the students here involved in the Lead to Feed, I mean, that is incredibly impressive to have students who have that compassion as well as the dedication to help others. And they recognize the fact that they may have more than the students sitting around them, and they've chosen to step up and do something about it. And I think that's it's a quality that we see in the students in the Winton Woods School District. And I think that's great.
Thank you, Mr. Birdie. Dr. Johnson?
Just again, the Lead to Feed, I think that's a wonderful program. Mrs. Barger has been around for a little while, and she's impacted this school district really, really greatly. And not just her, a lot of the other teachers as well. And it's just kind of kudos to them, and just thinking of National Teachers Appreciation Week, and just to encourage people to, just just send a card or something to your student's favorite teacher or something, because it is, being a teacher myself, I do realize that sometimes we're underappreciated. And when you see the impact and the enthusiasm that the students have as a result of something like that, it makes a lifelong impact. I mean, they'll be volunteers for life because of the impact that Mrs. Barger and that many of our other teachers make on our students. Also, I just want to remind everybody we read it earlier, about the summer school opportunities. Get in contact with your teachers, the counselors, to find out if your students need that extra help, or if you want them just to stay ahead of the game. Just get in contact with them about that. And again, congratulations for our crawl scores that were above the state average. We are making some changes. There are some improvements. I have to say kudos to Dr. Holden and Dr. Ragland for their frameworks. That is a step in the right direction. It's something that we've never had before, and it is going to make an impact. And they are working to implement that from K through 12. And that will make an impact. But it's not something that will happen overnight. It's a gradual process. But seeing that score go up and seeing the small changes go into the bigger changes. So again, I don't know, we probably all went to see the play. My daughter was in the school plays when she was in high school, and it is quite amazing to see, again, the confidence that these students get when they're on that stage, and that they do those things, and they take that into life with them. They take that to college with them, they take that into the workplace with them, and it's just something that I'm not going to mess up her name, Mrs. Kozlowski. She does a wonderful job with, and she's been doing it for years. So again, another teacher that inspires, and that's what teachers do. So thank a teacher, hug a teacher, okay?
Or a superintendent.
Or superintendent. He's asking proxy.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Mrs. Kuhn?
That was the point I wanted to bring up, piggyback on that, the importance of appreciating our teachers and the educators, the professional educators in our district. I'm very proud that we have such a fine professional staff who give and go above the call of duty. I think we had a proclamation, but a proclamation we just wanted to reinforce to our teaching staff that comes heartfelt. It's totally, we're there to support the teaching staff. That's what we're here for. They're the first line, touching our students, and they make that impact each and every day. And I don't think everyone likes to hear how good of a job they do, or that they appreciate the job that they're doing. And I just want to make sure that they know that. And also the nurses and just all the other complementary staff that goes along with it. The nurses, we have the appreciation there, and then our school nutrition staff. All of these pieces work together and in harmony with one another. This is a key component to the success of our students. So I wanted to make sure that the teachers knew the school board really cares about them and wants them to succeed and do well. And again, the musical, if you've not seen it before, it's a great, you should come to the musical every year. So we'll do our commercial later for that. But that's what motivated me to be on the school board, is to help and give our teachers the help that they need, and our administrators. So that's a key component. And just one other thing, and I won't continue on, but it touched my heart to see the group, the humanities group from the middle school, and what they learned. And that's just a little sliver of what goes on every day in our schools and how it touches the lives of all of our students. That's very reassuring to me as a board member. So I wanted our district to know all the good things that do go on, and we need more of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kim. For my comments, I wanted to make sure all board members are receiving this monthly publication. This one has some amazing articles in it in the April edition, but I wanted to further highlight a quote from the article in here that's entitled "How to Make Your Next Levy Campaign a Successful One." And it reads, "There are two kinds of school districts in the state of Ohio, those that are on the ballot and those that will be." So I know I've said this thousands of times before, and I've also mentioned to it highly in our work session where we discussed the necessity of the bond issue. But that's the reality, that's the state we live in. And I mentioned it earlier with the property tax issue with the charter schools, is the more often that happens, the more often that's taken away our pot as public school districts, and we keep getting drained and drained and drained of our resources. So this is our responsibility to our public school district. I mean, this is the reality we live in. We are the fiscal public servants of this district. Never do we want to ask our taxpayers and our property owners for more funds, but this is Ohio. I actually did some research online, and there's a book that you should be interested reading. It's called The Property Tax School Funding Dilemma, and it's written and researched with severe data from the Lincoln Institute of Land Policy. This book was published back in 2007, so I'm sure it probably needs some updates, but they did a research on, several different states in which Ohio was included. So there's some really great data in there pointing to what it's like to be a property tax-based school funding state, what it's like not to be, I'd imagine, and the benefits and the negatives that come along with that. So I encourage you to read these journals every month. Great stuff in there. Also, I know I said this last meeting, but May is a super busy month that we have coming up, not only for our students, but for our staff, our administration, and for us as board members. So there's going to be a plethora of events that you're going to be getting invitations to. Make sure you have a comfy, sturdy pair of shoes, and just put your seatbelt on for you new board members, and be prepared to be at several events every week. And graduation, of course, is my favorite of all of those. It's a wonderful night. This is a great month for both our students and our staff who've prepared them for graduation, and I'm looking forward to May. And that's all I have. Mr. Superintendent, anything you'd like to add?
Yes, Mr. Cleary, thank you for the report regarding the PBL at Scarlett. People don't know that that's what it is. They just think that it's kids working on things, and that's what PBL is all about. So the engagement that you talk about and pushing Superintendent Snyder to come back with evidence that says, what is the thing that makes the engine work? It's the engagement of children, and so we're on that same trajectory. So thank you, Board, for supporting the work.
Mr. Seymour, anything from you, sir?
No, thank you.
All right.
President Miranda, I actually forgot to add a couple
Yes.
things. I just want the public to know that I've been in contact with Ms. Charlotte Hunter, and she has an organization, or there's a group of individuals who, seniors, and they operate over in a senior center, and they're looking for students. They have a quilting project, and they teach quilting each week, and they want to give some students an opportunity to really learn the history of quilting. And it's also a community service project because for them to teach them the quilting, they also have to do a community service project and donate a quilt back to the Ronald McDonald House. So and they're looking for students who can follow instructions. And so about 5th or 6th grade all the way up to the seniors. So I'll get more information to you, Mr. Superintendent, so you can get it out. They're looking to do something over the summer and possibly have 2 sessions. And also I met with Dr. Holden and Dr. Ragland with a colleague of mine who's with the STEM Collaborative, and we discussed an opportunity to work with this STEM Collaborative, and Dr. Holden and Dr. Ragland will look for synergies between those 2 programs to see if there's more opportunity for the students.
Ms. Ruggles, question. Are there scholarships available in quilting?
Well, I'm sure
I'm
if
just
they are,
curious
you will
'cause
find
it's
it
everything
and
else.
you will bring it to the students.
Because if it is, we're definitely interested.
Yes. And that was the senior quilting group over at the Forest Park Senior Center?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. I don't see a representative from our teachers union or OPSI tonight, so we will just move into 14.01. We do have a necessity for an executive session this evening, so board a motion would be in order.
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to move into executive session to review strategies and negotiation sessions related to negotiation or arbitration of a collective bargaining agreement.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Seymour?
Mrs. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mr. Birdie? Aye. Dr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mrs. Kuhn?
Aye.
Mrs. Miranda?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. We will now move into our executive session. For our wonderful Waycross media crew that is here, we will have no further business after executive session. So that's when we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you for being here and have a wonderful week.
Viola, that was wonderful.